Hey everybody, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for this devotional. Today we're in Acts chapter 12. I'm going to be reading verses 20 through 23. Now Herod was angry with the people of Tyre and Sidon, and they came to him with one accord, and having persuaded Blastus, the king's chamberlain, they asked for peace because their country depended on the king's country for food. On an appointed day, Herod put on his royal robes, took his seat upon the throne, and delivered an oration to them. And the people were shouting, "The voice of a God and not of a man." Immediately, an angel of the Lord struck him down because he did not give God the glory, and he was eaten by worms and breathed his last. So, this is the end of Agrippa. Basically, these verses recount that Agrippa was not just hostile to Christians, but anyone that opposed him in any way. And there seems to be some animosity that's built between Agrippa and the coastal people of Tyre and Sidon, which were just north of where they were at. We don't know exactly what's happened, but it appears that Agrippa was withholding resources or was not transporting resources to them. And somehow the people of Tyre and Sidon get weary of this trade embargo, find their way to an inside man who's going to advocate for them. And this inside man happens to be the guy who's in charge of the king's bed chambers. So Agrippa calls a celebration at the stadium in Caesarea, a stadium built by Herod the Great, his grandfather nonetheless, and it's still there today. This was a very infamous location of all the gladiator games which were held here on a regular basis. In any event, Agrippa calls a regional assembly. Josephus, a well-known historian during this time, says that Agrippa entered the assembly in this white and silver robe that glittered in the sun, and it was stunning and radiant. So he takes his seat on his throne, he delivers his message, and following the message, the people erupted in cheer for him. They began chanting, "The voice of God and not a man." Now, while Agrippa probably felt like he was at the height of his notoriety and power, this event became quite an embarrassment. The text says that immediately an angel of the Lord struck him down because he did not give God the glory. And he was eaten by worms and breathed his last. How about that? You know, I think sometimes we've all taken something too far, right? Like teasing or sarcasm or joking or humor or something like that, right? But in this instance, it was arrogance. The uncontrolled arrogance of King Agrippa the First. And Agrippa had gone far beyond what God was going to allow. So again, an angel of the Lord's army shows up on the scene and strikes him dead. And all his glory is turned to worm food. Quite embarrassing if you ask me. You know, I think for all men, pride is lurching, right? We all have a manifestation of pride in our life. For some of us, this is more overt, and for others, it's more covert. But the lesson here is that we need to be attending to our pride incessantly, because we can't take some things too far with God. And one of those things is human pride. I don't know if you remember these words or not, but they're from Proverbs 16, verse 18. They read like this. It says, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Consider that today, maybe where your pride is lurking, and deal with it and address it before God does. Thanks for joining me for this devotional. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have, like it, share it with someone you know, leave a comment for me below. And as always, I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.